Hey guys, welcome back to the Carla and Crappy Show. This, as Andy Williams is telling you, is the most wonderful time of the year. Carla, why is that?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe because it's Rivalry Week! Yay!
Rivalry Week! We're actually not going to pick quite as many games as we normally would, and we have a couple that may not be traditional rivalries, and then we have a couple more that are definitely traditional rivalries. But good games all across the board this week. Let's jump right in. After you finish gorging yourself on Thursday, you can forget the NFL. Turn on whatever. I don't even know where this game is being broadcast. Texas Christian is playing in Austin against the Longhorns. Carla, what do you think?
I really wish that we say this isn't a traditional rivalry. It's because this game is replacing a traditional rivalry.
Correct.
This was normally the hotly contested Texas A&M game. Was traditionally played on Thanksgiving night, obviously with A&M bolting to the SEC. That game no longer exists. So poor Texas Christian has to be the fill-in substitute for this season. They've already determined that Texas Tech is going to play this game next year. That was actually determined earlier this week. So
I didn't know that. That's cool.
Texas
smart.
Tech and Texas will take over this spot, but in the one-year bind, they went ahead and said, okay, TCU, sure. So, it's the traditional game. Longhorn fans understand how this works. TCU just got invited to the Big 12. I know they're having a good year, and they did have a week off, so they did have a week to prepare for this game.
Sure.
To be honest, I don't think it's going to matter in this one, just because of the tradition behind it, Longhorns being up for this game, being played in Austin. I think the Longhorns win this one, and pretty convincingly, which will then set up a pretty interesting battle against another team that happens to wear purple the following week, which would be the Kansas State Wildcats.
And we'll get to that one. We will get to that.
We will get to that one next week, but I think Texas wins this one big, and it leads up to a pretty exciting game next week.
Okay, this is one of those games that actually you look at the schedule in August and you think, that sounds promising. What has happened since is that Texas temporarily lost its defense. Mac Brown isn't sure what happened with that one. TCU lost its quarterback, and he's a young man who may join the program at some point in the future after he's done with rehab and the various other things that he's got to do. As a result of those things, this game is not quite as exciting as you might have expected back in August, and I think you're right. TCU is in the temporary slot here. The folks in Austin know what the deal is, and this is a traditional thing for them. I think Texas will come through with a pretty handy win in this case.
The other disappointing thing in this is that this is the only game that's happening on Thanksgiving. We also lost the backyard brawl between Pitt and West Virginia, which also had moved mostly to Thanksgiving weekend. So it is kind of disappointing that there is only one game, but my gosh, there's a ton of games on Friday. We're not going to talk about any of them, but there's a ton of games on Friday.
There's good stuff on Friday. There was a Root Sports, the local Fox Sports affiliate in Pittsburgh, just watched a thing a few days ago, a retrospective of the Pitt West Virginia series. It is very cool, and that is a rivalry. I don't care what either one of those teams do, but that is a very cool rivalry and a game that I will miss on Thursday. On Saturday, however, we have one of our traditional rivalries. The folks in the state of Florida get all wound up about this one. The Gators are visiting the Seminoles. What do you see here?
Well, you look at this game on paper at first glance, and you see two 10-1 teams, both ranked in the top 10. And so you're thinking about this like, holy cow, this is a huge game. But when you sit down and you look at it, it's really only a huge game for Florida State. Florida has been traditionally kind of a back-end, second-half kind of, not really pull away, until late in the game, keeping things too close. They did it against Tennessee. They did it last week against Jacksonville State. They just didn't pull away from that team until the very end. But they're already locked out of the SEC title game.
Oh, that's too bad.
So, Georgia's already got the SEC East wrapped up. So Florida has nothing to gain by winning this game, other than the rivalry. Florida State, on the other hand, is going to go play for an ACC title. Could figure out if everything blows up, and who the heck knows what's going to happen in the next couple of weeks, but if everything blows up, there's a minute possibility, so you're saying there's a chance, that Florida State could back themselves into the national title game. Now, it's completely far-fetched. Is it really going to happen? I don't think so. But if Florida State wins out, they're in the discussion. Florida doesn't have that opportunity because they're not going to get the chance to play in the SEC title game. So because of that, because I trust E.J. Manuel a heck of a lot more than I trust any quarterback at Florida, and because the game is being played in Tallahassee, I think the Seminoles win this game.
Okay. I'm going to agree. I have been less and less impressed. Florida seemed to peak into early October. They had a rough start. I thought Bowling Green was going to had a chance of beating them in the opening day of the season. And since
so
then,
so did Bowling Green.
and since then, Florida State's Florida has. They take a half off and then squeak out a win against opponents, whether we're talking about SEC opponents or some of the cupcakes that the SEC teams like to schedule. They've had a hard time, and boy, if you take a half off against Florida State, you're not going to have a chance to come back. Florida State's one loss this year is an awful one on the road at NC State. But the times I've watched them, I've been impressed. That is a very good team, and I think they're going to thump the Gators on Saturday when those two teams meet. Next up, God, I hate this game. I hate this game. This is a team that I cannot stand playing against a coach I cannot stand. It's number one Notre Dame at Southern Cal and Lane Kiffin. I feel dirty even talking about it, but I suppose we got Carla. What do you got?
So many things about this game. I mean, seriously, I wish USC was healthy. I wish we were going to see a true USC against a true Notre Dame, and I think if that was going to happen, the outcome would be different. But the fact that they've already ruled Matt Barkley out for this game, and we're recording this show very early in the week, Max Wittick is going to get the start at quarterback. He's a redshirt freshman. Yeah, exactly. Who? Yeah, he's a redshirt freshman, graduated out of famed Mater Dei High School in 2011. Was a 4-star coming out, ranked by most everybody. But he has a strong arm. His accuracy has always come into question. Always come into question. He made iffy decisions at best at times while playing quarterback at Mater Dei, a Mater Dei team that should have run to a mythical national high school title. They had the talent. They finished his senior season at 8-5.
Oh, that's not good.
No, and they definitely had the potential to make a bigger run there, and that's always been kind of one of the things, like, yeah, he can heave it down the field, but can he heave it down there with accuracy? And to be honest, we still don't know, because he hasn't played yet. And
finding out against a pretty good Notre Dame defense will be a great idea.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is obviously not the best opportune time for him to try it out. But it's also bad for USC, because to be honest with you, Mark Heasley is just... He's ridiculous, but if you can't get the ball to him, it's going to be a long day for the Trojans. And as much as I want the BCS to just totally blow up, because I still in my heart believe that the best national title matchup is Alabama-Oregon, I still think that's the best possible matchup of teams for teams that are eligible to play for a national title.
Okay.
I don't think it's going to happen. I really wish USC was healthy. Even with all of Notre Dame's questions at quarterback and who's going to play on what down, and Notre Dame's going to win this game. I know.
It's
going to be a lackluster national title game, is what it's going to be.
As far as the national title game goes, as long as we don't get Alabama and LSU, kicking field goals and exchanging interceptions, I'll be happy.
But you did watch the Notre Dame Pitt game, right?
I did not get to watch that. I was otherwise occupied, as I often am on Saturdays. But we followed closely, and that's where I hesitate. I think Notre Dame has a loss in there somewhere, and it looks increasingly like that's going to be in the national championship game. Because they're going to beat SC on Saturday. I would love to see a full strength Southern Cal play Notre Dame, because I think there's a lot to Notre Dame that could be exposed. They have a very good defense. They're capable of excellent offensive football, but that has been inconsistent. And they've had to scramble a little bit like Florida has. They've had to scramble against some teams that they had no business playing tight games with, and Pitt's an excellent example. But in this case, SC is too iffy, and Notre Dame's going to finish the regular season undefeated.
Gosh, how much does Stanford hate this game? You know, I mean, your heart kind of breaks for them after what they did last week, and then
and they beat Notre Dame. They scored not once but twice, and had those touchdowns taken away. But
what are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do? We have the Big Ten. Our Big Ten flexed its muscles this week. So we have saved 2 excellent Big Ten games for the last. We're going to start in Happy Valley, where Wisconsin is visiting Penn State. Of course, a Monte ball, looking for his record touchdown. He would give him the most touchdowns ever scored in Division I by a Division I player. Can he get that done against the Nittany Lions?
He only needs 1, right?
Only needs 1. He tied the record. Tied the record on Saturday.
He tied the record on Saturday.
Correct.
Yeah, I'm gonna say he gets the record.
Okay.
But other than Monte Ball's record, again, this is very similar to the Florida State game in the fact that Wisconsin doesn't have anything to play for. They've already locked up a berth to the Big Ten title game. Other than getting Monte Ball's touchdown, they don't care if they win or lose this game, because they're gonna go play for a Big Ten title. I know. Penn State, this is the last home game. This is senior day. You can't tell those seniors that they have nothing to play for on this day, because that's not a true statement. It's their last game at home. And you have to believe that Matt McGloin, Mike Zordick, Jordan Hill, Mike Farrell, and gosh, how much does it hurt to have Michael Mahdi not play this game?
Yeah,
I mean,
awful.
You just, talk about your heartbreaking for Stanford. I mean, even without a rooting interest in Penn State, you would feel bad for him after what he did in the offseason, to kind of rally that team together. But you have to believe that core group of seniors is going to say, we got one more game. And I think they're just going to come out and they're going to play over their heads, which means one of 2 things is going to happen. They're either going to come out and they're going to win this game, and it's going to be a fairly convincing performance, or they're going to do what they did against Ohio when the emotions were so high that they came out and played really, really well for the first half, and then just completely fell apart in the second half. I think it's going to be one or the other this week. I think Penn State will have a big lead at the half, and then it's going to be a halftime to determine which way this is going to fall. I think this time they've played an entire season together. I don't think they let it happen. I think it's a tight game. Gosh, it would be fun if this one ended on a kick. It would be like going full circle. Just for funsies, to have this one end on a kick. But I'm going to say that because this is the last game, Penn State pulls this out. If this game was in Madison, I think the Badgers pull it out.
Wisconsin does. Going into last Saturday's game where Ohio State played in Madison, I was kind of thinking the same thing, that Wisconsin didn't have a whole lot to play for, and was surprised by particularly by Wisconsin's defense. They played very, very well. In this case, though, whatever motivation they had, and it may be that getting Moneyball's record is the only thing that they're really looking at this point. That's not going to match the motivation, the emotion, particularly for the seniors at Penn State. This is their last game. This is their bowl game. and we'll in a second we'll get to what I know about how that feels. Um, I think I see a win by Penn State here, and getting a kick for what's his name, Ficken.
Yeah,
Getting a winning field goal for him would be so perfect.
it would.
And I'm not going to go on a limb and call that, but that would be pretty cool.
It would be cool. And the other thing you have to think about with Wisconsin playing in the Big Ten title game is that they don't want to see what's happened to so many Big Ten teams. They don't want to see Moneyball get hurt, because if they win the Big Ten title game, they've got a BCS game to play in.
They're going to need him.
And they're going to need him. Yeah, exactly. So I think if Wisconsin is smart, they get Moneyball's touchdown, and then they start thinking about, okay, let's start thinking about a championship game here in a couple weeks. Mm-hmm. But we'll see.
Okay. We have one more game on our list. This is the week that I wait for all year long. I haven't broken this to my tailgating compadres yet, but we're going to be starting around 7 o'clock for a noon game. It's going to be early. It's going to be cold. We're going to make breakfast. We're going to have Bloody Marys, and then we're going to go watch Ohio State and Michigan. What do you think, Carla?
What do I think? I think you're going to have a good day, because I think the odds are kind of stacked against Michigan in this one. And I'm not just picking that because we're friends and we're teams that we root for, teams that don't have anything to play for after this week. But I think the odds are stacked against Michigan after a couple things that happened last week. Denard playing running back, not going to lie, that is kind of an interesting wrinkle.
I personally was scared shitless when I saw that when I was watching the start of the Michigan game on Saturday. Yeah,
that was an interesting wrinkle, but you also have to remember that was Iowa.
Yes.
It's totally different defense, and yes, I do know that the Ohio State defense has been a little shaky at times. But Denard is really going to be their only running back with Toussaint's injury, and you hate to see that too. I mean, I'm not sure you wouldn't say that you are happy about this, because that's not a nice thing to say. But I mean, it definitely makes things easier for the Buckeyes to not have Toussaint in the backfield.
Yes, it does.
For me, being a Big Ten fan in general, it pained me to see him go out, because I really wanted to see, again, a true matchup between two teams. And you're not going to get that this week with Denard being out, Denard can't throw. Toussaint's not playing. Devin Gardner looked decent. Again, Iowa. I don't know. Ohio State's going to go undefeated. They're going to win this game.
At some point, I will express my gratitude to Gene Smith, Ohio State's athletics director, for not taking a freaking postseason ban last season when it was obvious that the team was going to struggle. But that's a whole other issue. And I will be happy about the undefeated thing should it happen at some point later. I have one game on my mind. I have John Simon and the other seniors on this team on my mind. They're obviously, it's tough to compare Ohio State's situation to Penn State's. But for the seniors, they're in a similar position. They knew coming into this year that all they had was a regular season, and those guys in particular have come through with a remarkable play on the field, remarkable leadership, and they've made this a season that has exceeded the expectations I had and the expectations of any other Ohio State fan who isn't absolutely kidding himself. As far as Saturday goes, this, as I said with the Penn State Wisconsin game, this is my bowl game. This is my championship. I know that from reading stuff constantly already, and it's only Monday. This is how the team feels as well. Michigan still has a shot to make it to the conference title game. And it's the rivalry. As Coach Flintstone says, this is their most important game on the schedule every year. We have more motivation. We have more of a better reason to win on Saturday. We have a better defense than we did last year. We have a better offense than we did last year. I'm not sure you can say the same thing in either case about Michigan, if I can be logical just briefly. I'm not going to give you a score, but I know Ohio State's going to win this game. It's a done deal, and I will be dancing in the parking lots by about 3:30 on Saturday afternoon.
Video, please. Video.
That's possible. That's
possible. Okay, that would be good. I will defend this part too. I will fully confess to the fact that I predicted at the beginning of the season when I was writing all my previews that Urban Meyer would have a slip-up in his first season, because if you follow his track record, he's always had one. Whether he actually lost a game, he had a call that was a little too close for comfort, at least in all of his first seasons in the schools that he's been, and credit to him, he didn't have it this year.
I was looking at a 9-3 or 10-2. That was my expectation. So to see what Ohio State has accomplished to this point has been a lot of fun so far, and that will continue on Saturday. Carla,
that was Mike's lovely wife that just waved into the picture too. So
I didn't even see that.
Yeah, she kicked it over the corner and waved. So hi, Kelly.
Carla, thank you for joining us. We will be back next week, and we've got to talk about conference championship games, huh?
In some of them, yeah. We got a couple more regular season games and a couple conference title games. So
got some fun stuff coming.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, Carla, have an excellent weekend. You guys do the same, and we will see you back here next week.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. Let's go Bucks. See y'all later.